All right, we are live for the first time in about 2 months. We got Stacy, Michelle, and Chuck all online. Carstensen Team Remax results. So we're just throwing this together last minute. So I'm gonna
Michelle and Chuck.
and for the
I forgot how to do it.
straight time, somebody's tried to share the video as we get started, and it comes up in the background. So we'll get good at this one of these days.
I'm trying.
Stacy, how about you tell us how you've been? We haven't seen you for a while. How you been, Stacy?
I've been well, staying busy. Not only selling homes, but I took a nice vacation over at MEA. It felt really good to just kind of get away from everything and reconnect with family and kind of decompress a little bit. So been busy with clients, and still, the market's still pretty good. So we've all kind of been taking some vacations here and there. Chuck really hasn't, but Michelle went away for a little bit there too. But so I guess, Chuck, it's your turn to go soon if you're planning on it.
We haven't planned on it yet. So
you did move, so I suppose maybe you're still settling in.
We are still settling in. We get our furniture in our living room on Thursday. That's very exciting.
Nice. You haven't had furniture
in our living room, no.
College days. Living the college days.
I don't sit down, so it's all good.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's more room to wrestle the kids in that room for a while.
There you go.
But I noticed Lucas is getting stronger. I have bruises, literally. I don't know if I can show this. It's not going to show it. I have this bruise from Lucas. Okay, right there.
Oh,
that's
there.
A bruise. Lucas, he just pounds.
It's like your 8-year-old, Chuck.
Yeah. So I'll be glad to have furniture. Maybe it won't beat on me so much.
That's funny.
We will talk about real estate eventually.
Furniture is going to stop them from beating on you.
Michelle, what have you been up to?
I've been working a lot with Hopkins football because we get to play football. So not me, my son. So I've been working probably full-time with that and full-time real estate. That's what I've been doing for the last month. What else did I do? I did go on vacation. I went to California. Yeah. Anyone out there's watching and still scared to fly, I hear your thoughts, but I've flown 3-4 times already since this all started, and it's the easiest thing ever because there's nobody in the airport. Yeah. There's really nobody on the airplane, and as long as you fly certain airlines, they don't even sit in the middle. So you're not really by anyone. And I don't know if there's any proof of COVID coming from airplanes, but it sounds like you have to be next to somebody for 56 hours straight, and they'd have to actually have COVID in order for you to catch it next to them on the airplane. So if you're really seriously still scared to fly in the airplane because of COVID, nope.
Well, and I saw something too before I left that the filtration system in the airplanes, it filters fresh air from outside in every 3 seconds. So I know we had the same experience. Security was a breeze. I was like, oh my gosh, that took 30 seconds. This is great.
Yeah, I also took my 90-year-old grandma, who does still walk. She needs a walker. And went to California. It's been over a month. Nobody got COVID that we know of. And if we did, we obviously didn't get sick from it. Not saying you can't take your 90-year-old grandma and that's not going to happen to you. But my experience was just fine. And just thought I'd tell you about our flying experiences. Super simple, super easy, no issues at all. Actually, I don't even think we take off late or anything. It's just nobody bothers us.
Are the planes half full or really full, or what are they?
3/4 probably. I mean, I've been flying Delta. I did fly Sun Country too, but Delta, if you're not with your family, they don't put anyone next to you. So I'd say 3/4. I know when I flew to Washington, it was only half full. California, it was, 3/4, but pretty full.
I think all of ours, we flew Delta as well. I love Delta, quite honestly, personally. We had a connecting flight, so we flew from Minneapolis to Georgia, and those flights were full except for the middle seats, unless you were sitting with family. But I mean, our other flight to Pensacola wasn't full at all. There was barely anyone on it. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess now's the time. And flights are actually really cheap right now too, quite honestly.
They can be expensive, Stacy, depending on.
You're right.
Depending expensive ones.
Yeah, I suppose, depending on where you're looking to go to.
Also, if you fly Delta, though, I was supposed to go to Lake Tahoe last week and wasn't able to because football game got rescheduled. And they just gave me it was expensive, $500 a person, $1,000 credit back to my account. However, they did just give it back to me. I don't think every airline does that.
No. Yep. I agree. Book now, cancel if you can't go or shutdowns happen, and then go again.
I agree. I think this is a real estate show, but I'm going to stop anyway.
I'm trying to learn. I'm looking to look for a vacation soon. Once I get my furniture in my house where I can sit down and look up stuff.
And look. Yeah, I guess, I mean, the side advice is depending on when and where you want to go, just remember shutdowns are still happening. So, I mean,
that's the problem. We want to go to Hawaii. I think
down.
to go to Hawaii, it's a big process to go to Hawaii.
Shut down.
I think you can go there now. You have to get a test going into it and then sign a declaration.
Yep.
And then I think if you get COVID, they cut your arms off or something. I don't know.
No, that's not true. Our cousin is there right now. They're literally there on their anniversary trip. And I don't know if they're staying for 14 days, but they're literally there. And I don't think they're staying for 14 days. So I don't know how they got there, but they're there.
So I looked into it because that's my favorite place in the world to go, and flights are really cheap. So you have to quarantine for 14 days once you get there, and you can't rent a car. If you come in,
I think it changed. I think now if you get a test before you go there.
I was gonna say if you get a test
and you pass, and then you get there and sign a declaration. I don't know what that means. What that means? Like if you get COVID, they lock you up. I don't really know. But then I think you can go. Sounded like a big process.
Maybe on the next show we'll tell you what happened to our cousins and how they got there.
There we go. So one of my girlfriends, her brother, he had to go for work, and it was before the testing, and so he had to go for a 2-week teaching thing. So he had to go 2 weeks prior to quarantine for 2 weeks and then stay another 2 weeks. And I asked her, I said, how can they mandate him not leaving his hotel room? So when he checked into his hotel, he got a one-time key card. So if he left his hotel, he couldn't get back into his room. So that's kind of how they're mandating it and kind of keeping it in check, I guess.
That's completely insane. But anyway.
Maybe we won't go to Hawaii either way. It sounds complicated. Here it comes, North Dakota.
Yeah.
South Dakota. One of those. I don't know. Just kidding.
California was fine. Washington, Oregon, it's all fine.
Florida
Maine,
was fine.
I think you have to quarantine in Maine too. I saw that. We were thinking about Maine, but yeah.
All right, comment below with where you've been quarantined at during COVID. If you you can comment with your real estate questions. Please like and share. So we haven't done this. I look back. I think it was it August 30th? Does that ring a bell, or was it even less?
I think it was August 4th. Actually,
August 4th. So it's been almost 3 months. August 4th. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, where have we been?
Been on the road and busy, I guess.
Yeah, it's been busy. We told about vacation, but I know some people think Michelle always goes on vacation, but she does work a lot too. So, and Stacy had a well-deserved vacation. But yeah, since I would say the middle of July, the real estate market picked up in May. COVID hit. We've talked about this before in the show. It was a little slow, and then it picked up June, July, August, super crazy. And then the spillover end of August into September, now we're in October, was lenders got way behind. Appraisers got behind. Lenders got behind. Underwriting with lenders got behind. Like I said, the appraisals are behind. A lot of lower appraisals. At least we've had a few of those. And it just slowed everything up. A lot of issues. I would say if we had one thing to say since our last show, a lot of issues with closings happening on time of all kind of varieties. And I've been doing this 18 years, and I've seen a bunch of stuff over the years, but a few extra bonus things I hadn't seen just in the last couple months. And then the typical issues that we face all the time that, sometimes people who aren't in real estate haven't bought and sold in a while, or somehow had a smooth closing, don't realize all the challenges that can come up on real estate. We've had them pretty much all in the last few months and several weeks with, like I said, the slowdown. So we're not going to dwell too much on the negative of that, but that's part of what we've been doing, working to get as many as we could to closing. I think we lost a couple due to appraisal. I lost one due to, on a listing, a buyer losing his job the week before closing. That was probably the first one that I'd lost all COVID due to somebody losing their job, and a couple random other ones that fell through, but almost all of them go through. It's mostly appraisal issues or lender issues or something like that if something does fall through. Everything been going good on your sales lately, Michelle, or anything you want to share?
I just lost one today because some people don't realize that if something comes up in title, the seller is responsible to fix the title so that they can close. I mean, you could try to force the buyer to do it, but I don't know why the buyer would try to fix the title that they don't have the property for yet. So I did lost the deal today because the seller refused to pay for the survey to close the deal when we're 90% through the deal. All we had to do is fix the title issue and to be fine, good to go with. I think sometimes that does come up probably a couple times a year. I know Chuck would say that too. Sometimes it's because something was the title issue. And if you get title insurance when you close, usually we can go back to the title person before and rectify that. Otherwise, you have to get a lawyer. Or this one was pretty simple. They actually just said we need a survey, which costs about $2,000. If you don't know how much a survey costs, I've done research now. Ask 4 or 5 surveyors. It's about $2,000. Can be about $2,500 depending on what they have to do. So I had a seller that would not pay the survey, and now the house is just going to sit there. So that does happen. We have a lot of strange things come. I've noticed that buyers and sellers are pickier lately on inspections. Somebody wants a lot, somebody doesn't want a lot. Nobody wants to really do much. And then of course I have like the 2 out of 10 that like, oh, we don't even want anything, we're good, just go. Or they don't want an inspection. But I think because buyers are paying more for houses than they feel like maybe they should, even if their interest rates are low, they feel like everything should be really good with the home, and sellers feel like they should have more money because the market was even better a couple months ago. And I don't know, you just go through and figure it out. Like, that's why you get a realtor. That's why you don't do for sale by owner, because I think some people, like Chuck said, if you're not in real estate, yes, your deal might have gone really smoothly or you haven't bought and sold in a while, but otherwise there's a lot of work in the back ends that half the time, at least half the time, we do not tell our buyers and sellers if stuff.
Are you afraid? Is Michelle freezing up, or is it just
buy
me?
a house? You know, you look for
Michelle, you're frozen.
Warranty person on, but we haven't had an inspector on. Usually, when you get an inspection, buyer or seller side, it's probably usually buyer or seller side. The buyer's probably going to ask for 3 to 5 things, probably costs around $500 to $1,500, and it's pretty normal. So those things have came up a lot lately, inspection things, and we've just been able to work through them except for the survey. Seller didn't want to pay the survey. So that's where I'm at on that one.
Sounds good. Stacy, are you doing all right? Does your internet work better out in middle of nowhere Zimmerman than in Hopkins?
I guess we'll see. I know.
You're
I
cutting
always
out Michelle a little bit.
Yeah, I always wonder if she's cutting out, if it's my internet, her internet. So I don't know. Yeah, you know, I'll piggyback off of what Michelle said, kind of with some title issues. I've run into a couple, just one recently that we've delayed the closing. Everything's still moving forward with it. That their title issues did come up, and it was actually a city/state government title issue that's getting rectified, just kind of an easement that was put on for our government assistant plan, not just the single house, but like the whole block. So it's a new one that everyone's kind of dealing with this in this transaction, but we have come up with a solution and we're closing this week. So, I mean, it was delayed about a month, but all parties were still all in and just kind of waited it out, which is really nice that buyers and sellers were patient enough to wait it out and just kind of wait for a solution. As far as like inspection stuff goes too, Michelle, I completely agree. Some people are like, yeah, it's fine. We'll just take care of this stuff afterwards and just move forward. Or yeah, there's a couple of small things they want fixed, but it's not, I mean, when it comes to inspection things, a lot of people need to realize it's not necessarily a deal breaker. There's definitely different avenues and different paths that we can go down to rectify situations with buyers and sellers, that everyone gets the end result. And the end result is always someone being able to sell their house and someone being able to buy their house that they love. So, I mean, their situations come up, but we always come up with good solutions. I mean, that's kind of nice with Chuck being in the business for so long, and Michelle too, that, I mean, there is a lot of different avenues and ways and paths that you can get to the solution so that everyone can still get what they want.
Sounds good. A reminder for people tuning in. We did this more in short notice. We've been talking about let's do a show. It's been a while, for probably the last 6 weeks, and it never worked out. And Michelle sent an email, hey, let's do a show today at noon. And I said, how about 12:30 to give me time? Sure enough, my appointment showed up 50 minutes late this morning. So thank God I said 12:30, because I literally got here and got settled in, really settled in 12 seconds before it went live. So that was good. So we threw it together. Not much extra marketing or promotion. This does go on our podcast later. You can obviously watch the recording. It's live right now on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube later, or you're watching it live now on Facebook. Feel free to like, share, also comment. If you have real estate questions, you have your own real estate story or good news, whatever, you could do that. If you're, there's not good news if you're a football fan in Minnesota. Some Hopkins is 2-1. I guess we'll go with that's a positive record. I was watching the Gophers game on Saturday night. I'm like, this looks like the Cambridge Blue Jackets defense. They let them score every time downfield, like just running it down their throat. Anyway, sorry, Blue Jackets people. I'm not like picking on us. It just is what it is. So
my son's fourth grade football team, they won the division this weekend, so they've been undefeated. So it's pretty exciting for them. Yeah. Go Big Lake Hornets.
we got one positive. Yeah. We got two positive. Michelle's is positive. They're the one bad game I went to. They get killed every time I go to AJ's game. So
maybe you're a curse.
Maybe I shouldn't go to Cambridge game. They get killed every time I go there too.
Maybe.
If I go there, okay.
For a fact, Farmington is ranked 7th in the state over, all sections. So
that's pretty good.
We got killed by the 7th team in the state.
That happens, man. Yeah.
So post your favorite football team below in the comments. I don't care. Whatever you can comment with anything.
There's anyone out there.
There's a couple eyeballs on it, in and out, seeing what these people do.
Right.
All right. So one of the things I wanted to bring up that I put in the notes is talking about when A, it was getting people up to date what's going on, which is kind of what we're doing now. And then B, getting people, a lot of times there's some myths, I would say, about moving, buying, selling, late fall, early winter, even that it's not really late fall on the calendar. It feels like late fall on the weather. It's like literally 23 degrees. It's like, hey, this is December weather.
I know.
So sometimes there's some myths that people have when it comes to this time of year on buying and selling. And 2020 has been a different year across the board. I'm pretty sure most of us can agree it's been a different year. And I think real estate wise, the end of the year will be a little bit different than normal as well. So some of the myths that come up in people's mind or people talk about, or even other realtors probably tell you about, I don't think they necessarily apply. So we're going to talk through some of those, and you can always share your experience as well in one of the comments. So with that being said, and I did share my feed without having it come on, because I put the headphones on, so then you can't hear it. I can just see the comments. Anyway, if you do have comments, again, please chime in. Questions, please chime in. So what would be a myth that you can think of, Michelle, that people this time of year start to bring up or have in their mind, or even other realtors or mortgage people talk about?
There's nobody out there buying because nobody wants to move in the winter.
That is like the number one. If this was Family Feud and Stacy and Michelle went up to that thing and hit the button, I only asked Michelle.
We should.
We should too.
Family Feud version.
That would be out of 100 people surveyed in Minnesota, 65 people said, yeah, nobody moves in the winter. That'd be the number one answer.
Yep.
And it would go ding, 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 and everybody go to their family section and cheer. And Michelle would be in my family section, so I'd be cheering for her.
Dang it.
And to answer that, I have 14 sales pending right now to close in the winter. So that's just me. That's not you guys. That's me. So I think that's a myth.
And especially this year, that's the one thing I want to address. This year is a different year. If you're kind of been wavering, you hear about people moving, and that's been a big thing. There's been more transactions than anybody predicted this year. The prediction for the year as far as appreciation was normal appreciation, 1% to 4%. And then when COVID hit, it was like, maybe it'll decline. And it actually went up in that 4+ percentage appreciation.
I know. Crazy,
So
actually went higher than that.
more sales, appreciation went higher, meaning if you're a homeowner who owned a home last year at this time or whenever you bought it, and then you were in the home last year this time and got worried about your your net worth because of the home maybe going down with everything happening, the average homeowner, meaning the average medium ownership price rate, you've added about $9,000 to $10,000 in equity because you owned your home over the time, where if you didn't own the home, that's $9,000 to $10,000 you didn't add in equity. Now, equity can vault up or vault down. We've talked about this on our show a long time ago. It is still expected to appreciate next year. And again, normal appreciation is 1% to 4%. Probably on that show, I talked about 1% to 4%. But what I've been reading the last few months since we haven't done a show is 4% to 8% again. Like the appreciation's still going to be that strong. Eventually, it's going to start to price more and more people out of the market. And that's the biggest challenge in COVID. The people who have got hit the hardest are the people who don't have a great economy, economics, finances on their own. So they've been more stuck. And the people who have done all right and have a house, they're doing fine. So that's the biggest challenge with what's going on. If you're not in the home ownership, right now, you're losing money each year is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the myth, is that nobody's moving this year, but people are stuck in their home, and maybe they've been on the fence thinking, I'm going to wait. Maybe the prices will go down. Maybe this will happen. I'm going to wait for this and this and that. Whatever you're waiting for, if you've waited, it costs you money, especially if you waited a year. And then why would you want to be stuck in your home longer? Chances are we're very close because of how they test and more people testing for COVID. We're very close going back to like distance learning in our district and maybe most districts. Right now we're hybrid every other day. And if you're stuck in your home you don't love, you're going to be like, I want to get the heck out of here. And you can do that in the winter. It's fine. It's fine to do that. I think a lot of people will do that. So I think more people will list and more people buy in Minnesota in the winter than they normally do. And people are still doing it now. Thoughts on that, Stacy? Or piggyback that, Michelle?
No, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, we've been in distance learning the whole time. We've not stopped distance learning. So we're in our house. So for everyone going back to distance learning, like I hear you, I see you, but we've done it the whole time. I don't know. AJ doesn't mind it, but he's a senior, so it's probably like,
It's harder when you have younger kids, right, Stacy?
Yeah. So my elementary kids have actually been in school 100% face-to-face since school started. So they're in the Big Lake School District, and they're hybrid. They will start hybrid in a couple weeks, but their hybrid is still 100% face-to-face every day. But their schools are broken up from 3 to 5 and K to 2, so they have more room and the ability to break up the classroom, so they're at 50% capacity to spread them out more. So, I mean, obviously their school day structure looks completely different. They're not recessing with other classes. They're not lunching with other classes, but they're still there 100%. And I feel very lucky that they are. It's been very good for all of us and them. They're extremely happy to be in school full time. They heard us talking about distance learning because my other child goes to the Elk River School District, and they might be switching to distance learning when they've been in hybrid for the high school and stuff like that. And they're like, I don't want to go to distance learning. I want to be at school. I want to see my friends. And I get it. My high schooler hates distance learning. It's not for her. Like, some kids really thrive on it and some kids really struggle, and she hates it, quite honestly. So we're just, we're getting through it and helping her where she needs help, but it's not for all students.
And now it's not only everybody who has kids. There's people that are now working from home, and maybe they don't like their view. Like, you could be working from home in a rental, like in your apartment. And if you're doing all right, you're looking to get a house to look into a yard, or for the doggy, or if you have a yard, you're looking, hey, can I get more yard, or whatever it is. So that people are still going to be doing that this winter, I believe.
Well, and I currently have some clients that are actually, now they work from home 100%. And so they're like, well, let's get out of Dodge. Like, they're getting out of the cities and they're moving to more acreage because they have that ability and that capability to work from home every day. So now they don't need to do the commute. And so they can move to something that they like a little bit more, that is a little bit further away from people.
And we
So, I
should
mean,
say-
that's kind of,
I have lots of. I've had a good chunk of percentage of the people that are closing are moving out of the city again.
And that should be motivation for people who have some land who maybe were thinking about moving on. You don't have to wait till spring. Now, there is a pent-up demand for those people who want to get out of the cities or get more land to do it. So if you're like, this time of year, people, number 2 answer, which is almost the same as the number 1 answer, is, well, I'll just wait till spring. I got work to do or whatever on the house, which is almost like the number 2 answer to myth. Yeah, some years you might want to wait till spring, but this year I think is different. There is a huge pent-up demand, especially if you have an acreage property, or even if something, even starter homes are way pent-up demand. Like there's such a pent-up demand, such a low inventory. It doesn't make sense in most situations to wait till spring this year. It just doesn't make sense. You can be moved pretty quickly, and I know you still have to find something, but if you were moving out of town or just not buying, you for sure should list and sell. Sure. And if you are buying and needing to find something, well, we need more people to get this message to get their properties on the market so that there is a place to buy and so you can sell your property. That's a lot of people's holdup, but that's a big pent-up demand right there.
Well, I also have the people that, well, my neighbor might buy it in a couple months. Well, your neighbor can buy it now and we can facilitate the deal now. Like trying to figure out how to have a lot of those, I'm doing facilitators right now too, where that means I write up all the paperwork for both sides and I get you legally through the process, paperwork, if people don't know what that means. But I think people are like, well, my neighbor's going to do it, but we don't know how to do that. And then all of a sudden here it is winter and looks like we got somebody spamming us on our comments, Chuck. Spammer tuned in.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know. It's just like you can sell. You don't have to wait for this and that and another excuse and another excuse. Like
that's on YouTube.
Is it? The market is still good. It's not as hot as it was a month ago, unless, like Chuck said, you're in a starter home under like 200,000. Like, okay, just sell. And I also helped one of my clients that was in forbearance or still in forbearance close their house and got out of it with decent amount of money. So if you're out there and you're in forbearance and you're like, this is my last hope, or it's it, we'll be here for a couple more months and then we're basically going to lose our house. Like your house might be worth more than you think it is, depending on what market you're in and what price range as well. I see I'm on, like you all know, I'm on like this lake search and I swear every house I want sells. If it's got a pool and anywhere in the cities, like you think, why would you sell in the winter when you sell in the spring? It's gone. See ya. People want things that are not just their house. It's like Chuck was saying, it's got like a fenced yard, that's helpful. It's got some acreage, helpful. Pool, lake, very helpful. And we're still selling acreage properties for hunting and whatever. People
land,
pull my camper in the winter. We don't even care. I just don't want to be a certain place wherever they are. So,
yeah.
I was just talking to somebody. They're trying to buy land. They're like, land's way high in value, and they're selling so fast. I've never seen anything like this.
It's true.
Like, wow, it is crazy. But people are putting their recreation dollar into land, lake homes, upgrading their house, those kind of things, and realizing if you're going to be there so much, and we've talked about this every show probably since COVID, that's what they're doing. They're still going to do that October, November, December if there's a house to do that with. So if you're a seller, you don't have to wait till spring. You don't have to wait till after the election. This year, one of the excuses could be, I want to wait for the election. So Stacy, Michelle, what are your thoughts? How is the election going to affect things, if anything, this year?
It shouldn't affect the interest rate for the next few months. From what I've heard, at least it won't change until after the first of the year. So after the first of the year, it might go to that 4.5%. So if you're waiting till after the election, I probably wouldn't wait a huge
very
amount
long.
of time.
Yeah.
So
initially what happens too, I think, and Stacy can chime in on anywhere she has expertise. Initially what happens, typically investors, stock market, if they're thinking things aren't going to happen, that's when the stocks go down. Like, hey, there's not going to be a stimulus. There's not going to be a resolve with COVID. Stocks go down. And then somebody comes up with an idea, plan. Ooh, stocks go up. Trump gets elected, okay, stocks go up because there's more investor people. Biden gets elected, stocks initially go down. Doesn't matter if you have stocks, you want them to probably, like, you don't want them to go down, but if you have money and ready, trying to time the investment on stocks, that's a different market than homes, but people watch for that, and that's how the market reacts. But in homes, it's a little more stable. You live in them for a long time. It's not like fictitious money that goes up and down until you see it. I think the long-term interest rates could be affected a little bit if Biden gets in over Trump. I think if Trump got in, for sure, interest rates will stay low. That's one of his things. He doesn't even care if there's interest, basically. Interest rates would stay low if Trump stayed in there, which it's not going to hurt the housing market. I don't know that if Biden got in there, they would raise the interest rates, but that's one thing that could happen, which would slow down the growth on house prices, but I don't think it would drop the growth of house prices. And I don't think it really matters. I think Biden's probably a pretty, has a lot of economic policies that are more right than, like, if Bernie Sanders was on the ballot, I'd be scared probably if he was going to. But if Biden would win, I think it's really not going to affect real estate a whole lot. It might affect other sectors, might affect the 50% that don't like the one side or the other. That always affects those people that go a little bit wild on those kind of things. So any thoughts, Stacy?
I guess just kind of listening to the debate last week, I listened to it and watched it on TV, and depending on which candidate gets elected, it'll kind of depend on what happens with the COVID stuff as well. So, I mean, if Biden gets elected, then he's proposed to shut down and have a lot more strict things. So that could affect a lot of people in their employment. Whereas if Trump gets elected, he might push things to get open more. So then that might bring up other buyers and getting more in their job or getting more payment or whatnot. But I guess it really, I mean, yeah, the elections matter, and the elections will, that, like, it affects us a little bit, but I don't think it affects us a ton like some other industries where it does affect their industries a lot, depending on who gets elected. But I mean, people are always going to need to buy a house and always need a house. So as long as they have full-time jobs and they have the income to support a mortgage payment, then there's no reason. It doesn't really matter who's in the presidency right now.
Yeah. And I think one thing people don't pay attention to, neither of these people are talking, they talk about helping the middle class, some of them, right? Or they only help the rich people.
Yeah.
They never help the middle class, really, to be honest with you. Neither side does. If they wanted to help people, you have to raise the lower class to help the middle class, and you don't raise the lower class how they're doing the policy. So there's just like, it's a separation that somebody else has to correct. That's like my thing is I wish there was a different option that you could actually vote for. I've said it before, in the last election, I voted, somebody not the main two candidates, because it's just like, that's my vote, not that I knew they were going to win. They're like, hey, I'm not going to vote for either of these people. But the challenge is nowadays, it's like you're almost stuck because there isn't great options. And almost, I bet if they had a poll, maybe they do have a poll on this, most people don't think either of the candidates are a great option. So that's my point. Like, why does it matter then? If you don't think these are great options, why would it matter real estate wise? It would maybe matter some other areas, but I don't think it's going to matter a ton real estate wise. If people want to hold off and not do anything because of the election, because their emotions, they'll get more excited or down, come November 3rd or whatever the date is. I guess we can't make them do something. But that's the only reason.
November 3rd, so
yeah, exactly.
People buy and sell houses, so I don't think it affects too much. If the rate stay where it is, and even once it hits the 4.5, 5 again, people are still going to buy and sell houses. So
I agree.
It's not going to be 5. They're still gonna be 5. No matter what happens, people are still going to buy and sell houses, period. It's not going to end. We're not all just staying in this house forever. It's not happening.
We've said it many times before. Most people have at least 10% equity. Over half the people own their home like free and clear. Another 17%, or almost half the people that own homes own it free and clear. Another 20% or so have 50% equity. So there's about 60% of people that have at least 50% equity in their home. And then there's the other 20% that have 20%, the other 10% that have 10%, which Michelle was saying earlier, if you got into trouble, you could still sell your house and get money out of it instead of just losing it to the bank. That's why we're not going to see a lot of foreclosures. So what are some other myths that you've heard in the past this time of year for people? about buying and selling. Nobody moves in the winter is the first one we covered.
Yeah.
The other one we brought up a little bit ago is, well, I'll just wait till spring now. It kind of is a piggyback off nobody moves in the winter, but it's more like, there's stuff I wanted to do that I didn't get done, those kind of things. So what is something else that you've ran across, buyers or sellers, recently or in the past?
I've had clients actually say, the holidays are coming up. I don't want to have to keep my house in tip top shape, or I have plans during the weekends. I don't want to have to worry about showings and people coming in and out on the weekends. I just kind of the myth of the holidays are coming up, and we can't argue that the holidays are coming up. They come at the same time every year, and still people maybe will walk into your house and love how it's decorated for whatever holiday you celebrate, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or anything like that. They're going to love what it looks like, and maybe that'll give them inspiration and just kind of want to see themselves celebrating their holidays there the next year. So, I mean, people still do it. I mean, it maybe is a little bit of extra work because I feel like when holiday decorations are up, it's a little bit more cluttered in my house, but it's festive and fun, and people are in a different joyous mood, if you ask me. But
It's true. I actually think they're in a better mood. You might actually want to
I do
pay more
too.
for it.
Mhm.
Well, here, good point, Michelle and Stacy. So two things on that. First, I think less people will actually get together
This year,
for the
yeah.
holidays, a little bit less. So whatever that means. The other thing, people get in the mood of buying during Christmas or buying stuff. I know how I am. You get me to buy one thing, that's like, I might as well buy that too. I might as well buy a house or whatever.
Spending money.
Spending money. So people are in the spending mode
Mhm.
that time of year. So it's not a bad time to be available for selling your house. We had a decent November and December and January last year. Probably our best November, December, January, if we add up all the transactions last year over any other year. That wasn't, I don't remember great weather. It wasn't like great weather, winter, anything. It was okay, probably, right? But
Okay. It wasn't that
Just
bad.
cold.
It wasn't snowing yet.
But people do move the winter. We had a really good run compared to most years. So I think this year, assuming there's enough inventory, we'd have a better run. Part of it is just understanding these things that people think, well, nobody moves. I don't want to list during the holidays. There's too much going on. I think people just in general have less going on. So there's less sports. Now, I know sports is back, but it's a little more low key than it's been in the past. That's the biggest challenge. A lot of times people have their kids and everything, and it was a more low key year for that. And even that sports is back going, it's hit or miss. Not every school is still going. And then little kids sports is a little bit scaled back this year, which is part of the craziness that it's hard to move in the winter and summer and all that stuff. I think that's one reason a lot of people did move. Their little kids weren't playing baseball 17 times a month,
So they had time to look.
Yeah. Other myths or ideas that people maybe don't have correct during this time of year that you ladies can think of, just from your experience.
Outside of my house just is all full of snow. Nobody can see what the outside of my house looks like.
I think that's more of a buyer myth, like, I want to see the land. I want to see what's out there. If you're so what do you think? If you're buying a 0.25 acre yard, is there much to miss out in the yard other than it looks like it's level or it looks like it's sloped? What if there's dog poops all over the yard? Is that going to ruin
that's
your life?
annoying, but
It is annoying.
it's good fertilizer in the spring.
It's easier to pick it up on
Call
the
it
snow.
like that.
Yeah, I think landscaping that is, I want to see what I'm buying. I totally get it. First of all, hopefully the snow melts off one more time here, and you're ready to buy in a couple weeks when the snow is gone one more time. But also, if it's a small yard, I really think that's just, are you waiting for prices to be higher? Because typically, over the past years, this is a little slight decline in the market, not like a drop off, but just like, maybe you can get a house. Like if you were trying all year to buy a house, there are houses now you can actually buy, and maybe the seller will pay closing costs, or you can even offer a little bit less sometimes. We're still seeing multiple offers. We're still seeing good activity, better activity than most Octobers. But there is every once in a while like a seller that wants to sell, and you can actually get the house if you're somebody who's been looking for a while. Or if you're somebody who's just starting looking and you've heard it's hard to get a house, you can go out there and get a house and be done and not take too much time. And again, as far as the yard thing, I think it's a buyer concern. So what's another way to just
Well,
understand that as for your buyer.
I mean, just off of that too, I mean, if you are thinking of buying or selling, or I guess selling would probably be more accurate, but in the future and you have beautiful landscaping, generally speaking, people that take pride in their landscaping, whether it's gardening or whatnot, they'll generally take pictures. I mean, take some spring pictures and just save them on your phone or send them to an agent if you're thinking about selling in the spring. And that's definitely something that we can share with buyers when it comes time to looking at the landscape and just, I have this beautiful garden over here that I've taken care of for years, and this is what it looks like. I mean, that definitely will help some buyers. Some buyers, they don't really care what the flowers look like. I kill anything that grows outside, so it doesn't really matter on my side. But I mean, they are nice to look at the same time.
Yes, that's a good point. And obviously it snowed faster than it normally does. So some people might have missed the pictures. I rushed out to do some outside photos on a listing we'll probably have in December, January, Monday before it snowed. And it was tough though, because it literally today is sunny. I don't think it's been sunny for like 2 weeks here.
Yeah.
It's just yucky gray. So it's hard to get nice photos. So you should have took photos in the summer or spring, and then we can use those a little bit in the marketing. And obviously we get the accurate current photos too, just to show what's out there, especially if somebody's got acreage. But if it's a townhome or a city lot or condo or something like that, really shouldn't be a big deal. And then the other thing, if it is 40 acres, 80 acres, there's aerial views, there's things you can go to the county, there's Google Earth, there's so many things. And actually, then it's a little bit easier to walk it this time of year or in the next month when it freezes a little bit. You can actually walk some of the softer ground or low ground. So then it actually, you could say, yep, I know what it looks like. I know where the low ground is by buying land. But then in November or December, when it's frozen over a little bit, you can actually walk the whole land like, I know in the spring that's going to be wet, but this is what it is. And you get to see the whole land. It's actually, for buying land, a good time. And we have a lot of land sales this time of year because of that.
Yep.
All right. So we'll probably wrap it up in the next 5 minutes. No questions that nobody knew about the show. Nobody's interested in real estate.
There's people watching.
There's a couple people watching. They already have the answers. It's probably other realtors.
It's probably my mom, your mom.
My mom wouldn't know how to watch it.
Oh, maybe my sister. I'm just kidding.
Dead air, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Final thoughts on last couple months in real estate since we haven't had a show. I guess last September, October, almost 3 months in real estate since we haven't had one on this show. Something we didn't cover that you'd like to share that you thought is important that we've been through in the last 3 months or you saw happen, or again, any last second things that come up for the people hesitating because they are thinking nobody moves in the winter that might keep them out of the market. What would be, maybe Michelle, one big benefit of selling this time of year? If you're a seller on the fence, should I wait or should I go? What would be the biggest benefit you see 2020 if you were to go ahead and list and sell soon?
The biggest benefit of selling now is there's still buyers out there with the interest rate that low, and there's no guarantees in the future.
You're right. No guarantees in the future. And there's low inventory yet. It's like lower inventory than there was before.
Yeah.
Like this, even in a normal year, this is the time of year we sell our listings that have been out there for like 3 months. So that people are like, oh my God, it's been out there 3 months. All of a sudden it sells because in a normal year, there's like less people listing. Now we have a 2020 where tons of demand yet and less people listing. It actually makes it a good time to list compared to other years at this time of year.
The other thing I would say is if you're getting ready to sell your house, whether it's in 2 months or 2 weeks, make sure you declutter your house. I don't care if you put everything in your boxes inside and your garage is stuffed to the ceiling, or you have to rent a storage pod outside. Get your house decluttered. And if you can paint, if you have the money to do that, probably cost you, if you did it yourself, I would guess in your house is 2,000 square feet around there, probably cost you $1,000 to paint your house by yourself. But paint it, take everything off the walls, declutter, put everything away. I mean, that's like on the movies. If you're pulling out your closet door and everything falls out, it's still better than being in the pictures. Just got to tell you that. So.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder. So we do have a question here. What advice do you have for a young couple looking to buy their first home? Both of you can answer.
Do it now. Interest rates are so low, and they're actually lower than when you refinance. Like, I know it sounds like, okay, she's just telling me to do it now, but literally it makes a big difference. And then when you're looking to buy your first home, I mean, it doesn't, you know, if you're not going to use us, make sure you use somebody with experience, because there's a lot of small things that most realtors miss that I assume none of us are going to miss. And we do miss some things, but you really need somebody on your side that knows what they're looking for sure.
Yeah. And make sure, I mean, I've gotten people that have reached out to me because their agent isn't available on the weekends. I mean, you want somebody that's available when you're available, and you want to make sure that they, like, you communicate that, you know, this is what I'm typically available. So then whoever you're working with, whether it's us or somebody else, that they know that, so that, and they know that you're pre-approved, you're ready to go. So, and that you're serious, because then they'll make sure that you're one of the first people that they're going to send that brand new listing to. Like, hey, let's, like, you know what? This person hasn't responded to me, but I know that they're going to love this house. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and book an appointment just to get on the showing calendar, because some of these homes, they're booking up so fast. I'm trying to book a few appointments for a few clients today, and some of them are already in multiple offers, and highest and best are due by tomorrow. And the place has been on the market for like a day and a half. So it's kind of like, just make sure that you communicate what your expectations are with your agent, so that they know what kind of you're looking for and how quickly you're looking to move and stuff like that too.
And I would say, regardless if you've got a referral as the agent or not, like, go ahead and interview the agents a little bit. Ask them those questions that Stacy and I just gave you the answers to. Like, even if there's somebody referred to you, you still got to make sure it's like a good fit for you.
Yeah, a reminder, we do help people in a lot of areas, so we would be happy to help you if you're buying. Let us know where that's at. To kind of follow up on Lori's question too, as first-time home buyer, let's say you're renting now or living somewhere and you don't plan to buy a house to next year. That's perfectly fine, no rush. But what you should do now is make sure your credit is in a spot where you can buy at a time you want to buy. So if you think, well, it's okay, I don't know what's on my credit, we can get you to a lender. They can check it, give you some tips so you're ready to go. So when you're 100% ready, comfortable, confident in buying, your credit's not 620, it's 680, 700. There's little things you can do over a few months. That would be one of the first steps. Actually figure out where your credit is going into the time frame, the goal, the date you've kind of picked in your mind as when you want to move. So pick that date, figure out where your credit is, and then some of the other things Stacy and Michelle said. We do have another question. Basically, James asked on Facebook, I have a cabin in Garrison by Mille Lacs Lake. Is this something you guys would be interested in listing? It's a shell, so it needs to be finished though. Yes, we would 100%. We do list in that area, James. We can help you with that. And, you know, it's property values based on, you know, where it is, how much acreage. We'd have to get the information. We can help you. We can talk off air and like the specific questions, but we do go up there. The one thing I would say, people are looking for recreation properties. Some people want to work on things. A lot of people don't. So if it is a shell that needs to be worked on, in general answer for most people, those become a little bit harder to sell when properties need work, aren't finished, but you might have a lot of value in it. And it's like, hey, where it's at and the value it is now, I'm good to go. So the numbers, you can always evaluate them for what they would be, how it is, and it still makes sense for a lot of people. So, but that's definitely something we can help you with. I wasn't all the way in Garrison today. I was in Onamia today already. So Garrison's just a little bit up the road from there. So definitely go up there, can help you. And we do have a lot of people looking for those kind of properties too yet. So Stacy, I don't think we gave you the last chance to maybe give for somebody buying a home right now and maybe on the fence about buying, what would be a piece of advice to help them currently that we haven't brought up yet?
You know, I guess don't be afraid to look at places and just kind of get out there, even if you're hesitant, whether your lease on your apartment, let's say you're renting or something, is up in January and you're a little bit hesitant. Like, at least get inside to kind of know what you're looking for. I mean, that's not a bad idea because you don't want to come December, middle of November and have to scramble to look and then just settle on something that you don't really want to necessarily purchase. So, I mean, we're here. That's what we're here to do. We're here to send you searches and just kind of set you up on looking at different properties. More agents are doing more open houses now. So if it's not something that you're like, I just want to pop over there and see if it's something that I even am interested in. Generally, people are doing open houses, and a lot of people and agents are doing a lot more virtual tours now as well. So that's something that you can always just take a look at too. But don't hesitate to, don't feel like you're ever burdening anyone by asking to see houses, and don't ever feel bad for wanting to see 20 plus houses or even more before you make a decision, because it's a big investment and a big decision that you shouldn't settle on. So you want to make sure it's something that you like and you love.
Yes, correct. And the other thing I'd say, a lot of people are searching online and they're like, oh, there's a lot of properties out there. They go on Zillow. We probably talked about, there's foreclosures and pre-foreclosures, and there's always houses for sale. For foreclosures and pre-foreclosures on Zillow, most of them aren't for sale. So there's not that many properties out there. And then maybe you're searching a fairly wide area. Most of those are sold subject to inspection. Zillow doesn't have it marked that way, so it looks like there's houses. And sure enough, somebody picks their favorite one all the time on Zillow. We all get this call, like, yep, that's sold subject to inspection. Anything else? Well, that was my favorite one. Hey, I'll set up a search for you. So allow us to set up a search. We set up a search in the area, and there's like 7 houses that they could consider, and only one of them that's maybe okay. So you want, what I'm saying to piggyback off Stacy, if you're buying in March, February, January, you want to like get hooked up with a realtor now and a search. So like, what's really out there? Oh, there's 4 houses I'd like. There's 3 houses I like. And yeah, to Stacy's point, probably go check a couple out. Yeah, those would work. Boy, I got to figure out a way to boost my search price, or I might have to widen my area. You can do that now, to piggyback what Stacy said. So, all right. We are going on about 50 minutes strong. How long have we been on the air? 51 minutes. Okay.
51 minutes.
We're all long-winded. And so thank you for your questions today. If you're just joining the show or popped in, you can always watch the replay on Facebook. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, a bunch of the podcast stations of the Real Life Impact Show. It's on our personal Facebook page. It's on YouTube page too. You can find that, I think it's through Chuck Carstensen YouTube page. So you can find us all over online on these live broadcasts that we will try to do more consistently, that we can probably do a little more consistently in the winter, just when we're just not getting overrun with, like, it was great, like overrun with business. So we like being overrun with business,
and it's dark at 5 o'clock. So
it's dark at 5 o'clock. So we might even do an evening one. Prime time will be back. We did the prime time early on.
Yep.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching. You can always reach out and message us through Facebook with any questions you didn't ask online, or reach out directly to us. You can obviously find us easily online. And this is the Carstensen Team signing off in the What's Happening in Minnesota Real Estate Broadcast podcast. Take care.
See ya.